Hi, and welcome to the Part 4 on AWS Certified Cloud Practitioner exam questions and answer. So let's get straight to the questions. So the question number one is that what AWS service or feature is used to send both text and email messages from the distributed applications? And the options are Amazon Simple Email Service, option B is Amazon Simple Notification Service. Option C is Amazon CloudWatch Alerts. And option D is Amazon Simple Queue Service. And the correct option is Amazon Simple Notification Service or Amazon SNS. This is the feature or the service that can be used to send both and email messages from distributed applications to the subscribers. So the definition of Amazon SNS is that it is a service, it is a managed messaging service offered by AWS. You can use Amazon SNS to send messages from application to application. It means from A to A or from application to person, A to P. You can use Amazon SNS in different modes such as publication slash subscriber, SMS, email, or mobile notifications. And this is a visual representation of the Amazon SNS service. Here we have the publisher, and let's suppose if the publisher sends notification, it is done through the Amazon SNS, and the relevant topic is selected, and then the notification is sent either through email or through Amazon SQS or Lambda services to the subscribers. Question number two is that a user needs programmatic access to AWS resources through AWS CLI or the AWS API. Which option will provide the user with the appropriate access? So the user wants to access the Amazon resources through CLI or the API. So what is the correct service or option that can be used for the subject purpose? And the options are number one is access keys. Number two is Amazon Inspector. Number three is SSH public keys. And number four is AWS Key Management Service or AWS KMS keys. And the correct option is access keys. So the access keys are required for the programmatic access to AWS resources through CLI or API. And again, what are the access keys? These are used to sign the programmatic request to AWS CLI or AWS API. Question number three is that what does the concept of agility mean in AWS cloud computing? And we have to choose two options, and the options are option A is the ability to experiment quickly. Option B is the speed at which AWS resources are implemented. Option C is the speed at which AWS creates new AWS regions. And the last option is the elimination of wasted capacity. And the correct options are the ability to experiment quickly. So agility basically deals with the doing things quickly, and here the ability to experiment with different applications quickly, and the speed at which AWS resources are implemented. Again, since we are talking about the speed and quickly, so that is the concept that is used in AWS agility. And if we explain it further, then the agility refers to the ability to respond quickly to changing business requirements and to innovate rapidly. Two aspects of agility in AWS cloud computing are number one, agility involves the rapid provisioning and deployment of AWS resources to meet the dynamic needs of application and workloads. And number two, agility allows users to experiment and iterate quickly, enabling them to test ideas, features, and configuration with minimal barrier. So that is the concept of agility in AWS cloud computing. Question number four is that a customer needs to block SQL injection attacks against his or her application. Which AWS service or feature can meet these requirements. And the options are AWS Shield. Option 2 is AWS WAF or Web Application Firewall. Option C is AWS. Option C is Security Group, and option D is Network ACLs or Access Control List. And the correct option is AWS WAF or Web Application Firewall. So the Web Application Firewall is basically used to prevent or stop the web exploits or web attacks. Here we can see that when a client accesses any application in the AWS, it must pass to the request is sanitized or checked by the AWS WAF, and then the request is passed to the relevant applications. So the AWS Web Application Firewall is used against the web application attacks such as SQL injection. Question number 5 is that a cloud practitioner needs to obtain AWS compliance reports before migrating an environment to the AWS cloud. How can these reports be generated? We are talking about the AWS compliance reports, and the options are: option 1 is open a case with AWS support. Option 2 is contact the AWS compliance team. Option C is download the reports from AWS Artifact. And option D is generate the reports with Amazon Maki. And the correct option is download the report from AWS Artifact. So the AWS Artifact can be used to download the compliance reports. And what is AWS Artifact? It is a portal that provides access to various compliance reports, including certifications, attestations, and other relevant documents. You can download these reports directly from AWS Artifact. So it is a portal where you can download these different types of compliance reports. And here we can see that the AWS provides downloads of reports such as third-party compliance reports, and it can also be used for accepting the agreements. Question number 6 is that an online gaming company has migrated its IT infrastructure from on-premise data center to the AWS cloud. Which cost is the company's direct responsibility? And the options are: A, cost of the hardware infrastructure on AWS. Option B is cost of application software licenses. Option C is cost of power for the AWS servers. And option D is cost of physical security for the AWS data centers. So the physical security, the cost of power that powers the servers and the data center, and the cost of the hardware infrastructure, these all are the responsibility of the AWS or, in that matter, any cloud provider. While the cost of application or software licenses, it is the responsibility of the customer or the cloud consumer. Question number 7 is that elasticity in AWS cloud refers to which of the following? And we have to choose two options, and the options are: option A, the ability to right size resources as demand shifts. Option B is how quickly an Amazon EC2 instance can be restarted. Option C is the pay as you go billing model. And option D is how easily resources can be procured when they are needed. And the correct options are: number 1, the ability to right size resources as demand shifts, and the second correct option is how easily resources can be procured when they are needed. And this is a visual representation of the elasticity, that when demand is low, then we are using fewer resources, but as the demand increases, so is the number of instances. So the capacity also increases as the demand increases, so that user do not feel any or does not feel any impact on the application performance. Question number 8 is that which service enables customer to audit API calls in their AWS accounts? And the options are: option A, AWS Trusted Advisor. Option B is AWS CloudTrail. Option C is Amazon Inspector. And option D is AWS X-Ray. And the correct option is AWS CloudTrail. Trail. So what is AWS Cloud Trail? It is the service which can be used to audit all the API calls. So all the API calls go through this AWS Cloud Trails, and it keeps or it logs all the API calls, and these can then be used for alerts or other tools such as analysis, etc. So the AWS Cloud Trails is used to audit API calls. Question number 9 is that what is a customer responsibility when using AWS Lambda according to the AWS shared responsibility model? And the options are patching the operating system. Option B is confirming that hardware is working in the data center. Option C is managing the code within the Lambda function. And option D is shutting down Lambda function when they are no longer in use. So the correct option is the customer is only responsible for managing the code or writing the code within the Lambda function. Rest all are the responsibility of AWS or the cloud provider. Question number 10 is, and the answer is already highlighted. So the question is that an e-commerce company has 3 terabyte of data stored in Amazon S3 storage or S3 bucket. The company plans to occasionally run queries on the data for analysis. Which AWS service should the company use to run these queries in the most cost-effective manner? And the options are A. Amazon Athena, B. Amazon Kinesis, C. Amazon Redshift, and D. Amazon RDS. And the correct option is Amazon Athena. So the Amazon Athena can be used for analytics and analysis of the data that is stored inside your Amazon storage or S3. And what is Amazon Athena? It is a serverless interactive analysis tool or analytics service that provides a simplified and flexible way to analyze petabytes of data where it lives. So that's all for today. Thank you, and see you in the next video. Bye.